This is a story that should never have been told. It should have been buried in the sands of time. A minor figure, an itinerant preacher on the edge of the empire with a difficult group of subjects, the Jews, who caused Rome trouble, himself caused trouble and was executed, hung naked on a cross and tortured, left to die. That should have been the end of it, surely. How is it possible 2,000 years later we gather to remember this abject failure in the eyes of the world? Well, only because of the Father's power, that of the Spirit, the love of the Holy Trinity, was this horrible, torturous death transformed into a symbol of divine love and the possibility of human healing. In the story, the drama, the tragedy of the Gospels, apart from Jesus and his mother, everyone else is guilty. A mixture, to be sure, some more than others, some less than others. But like ourselves, everyone else in the story carries an opacity, if you like, in their lives. At times, as we saw last Sunday, waving Jesus in with palms, welcoming the Messiah. A week later, clamouring for his blood. There is a darkness in the human way of life, not intended in our creation, but one that's crept in. Niebuhr, the Protestant intellectual, once said, "Surely original sin is the only empirically provable doctrine." Just read the newspaper if you're in doubt about the darkness of humanity. But that's where the story could end as well, and could have ended on the cross, except for the light that came from the cross. Utterly against the logic of the world and in the paradox of a suffering that gives life still today. The resurrection. But we don't sprinkle cheap grace over suffering as Christians. We don't evade it. We don't skip over it. We live with Good Friday, a naked man hung on the walls of our churches, around our necks, and the empty tomb, the horror of the empty tomb, for those who thought this man was going to change the world. And the resurrection of the broken body, glorified, still bearing its wounds, though. In the paradox of all that at once, you and I live in this fallen way. And yes, we read the paper, but that's not the end of it. The love that's on offer to you and I, never forced, but always gifted freely for our free response, offers a transformation of all of that brokenness and of those wounds. But not their erasure, not their oblivion. They're being held and redeemed at the same time. So this is a story of suffering, horrific suffering, that shows solidarity with all that suffering throughout human history, all the slaughter of the innocents. But at the same time, it's the story of love that can transcend, heal, and lift up.